Hey guys, I'm Melissa. I'm a registered dietitian and welcome to my channel. So I wanted to start doing some videos about different fad diets. I feel like a lot of people hear about fad diets, they hear that their friend lost some weight or liked a diet, and I feel like people just jump in without really doing any research. So I don't want to bash these diets or judge anyone for doing these diets. I just want to provide you guys with the facts and provide you with my perspective, a dietitian's perspective on these diets. So the first one I want to talk about today is the Paleo Diet. So the Paleo Diet was founded by Dr. Lauren Cordain, who has a PhD. His website didn't say what his PhD was in, but it said that he has just read lots of books about Paleolithic diets and has done a lot of research on human performance. So that's the background on the guy who came up with it. So basically the Paleo Diet is also known as the caveman diet. It's pretty much not eating anything that our Paleolithic ancestors would not have had access to. The premise of this diet is that the agricultural revolution and the introduction of grains into our diet is the cause of a lot of the disease that we as humans deal with now. So the point is to get back to the roots of when we were hunter-gatherers and eating food from animals from the ground. So from the official Paleo website, I found that the main points of the Paleo diet are high protein, 19 to 35% of calories should come from protein. And this would be mainly, or pretty much all animal products. So no protein is going to come from non-animal products. And animal products are a huge staple in the Paleo diet. The second point is that it's low carb. 35 to 40% of your diet is going to come from carbs, and it's going to come from non-starchy fruits and vegetables. High fiber, so again, this is only coming from fruits and vegetables because there are no other sources of fiber. There's no grains or anything like that. Moderate to high fat intake. Excuse me. Excuse me. Sorry. Brody, did you want to be in the video? Look at the camera. Do you want to talk about the Paleo diet? Oh. Okay. Where was I? Oh, moderate to high fat intake, which is going to be mostly mono and polyunsaturated fatty acids, so that's good. That's what you want your fat to come from. High potassium and low sodium. So they're basically saying potassium is necessary for kidney and heart function and major other organ functions, and we get too much sodium, so we don't want to add more sodium. This is kind of a weird one because we also need sodium. We don't only need potassium, and too much potassium is also bad for you. So that's kind of, I feel like, kind of a strange point to make of the diet. And then the last one is net dietary alkaline load that balances dietary acid. So they're saying eating high acid foods can cause muscle and bone loss, and we want to balance that with more alkaline foods. I don't know. For me, I kind of feel like the last 2 points, the one about potassium and the one about alkaline, were kind of just thrown in there because they found that that's true with this diet. I don't really think that anyone is doing this diet in order to get more potassium or get a more alkaline diet. I don't know, that's just me. So on the can eat list, we have meat, preferably grass-fed meat, seafood, eggs, fruit, non-starchy vegetables, nuts and seeds, and healthful oils such as olive oil, coconut oil, avocado oil. On the don't eat list are all grains, all legumes, dairy, refined sugar, starchy vegetables like potatoes, processed foods, refined oils like vegetable oil, and salt. So I wanted to look at the science behind this diet, see if there is any information scientifically proving that this diet is superior to any other diet. So I found one review article, so it goes over 9 different studies about the paleo diet. So I thought I would talk about some of the things that they found when reviewing these 9 articles. Most of the studies about the paleo diet compare it to accepted diets like the Mediterranean diet. So that's what most of these studies are comparing the paleo diet to. A couple of the studies found that the paleo diet did cause weight loss, also an improvement in blood pressure and A1C. However, a lot of them did not find any of those as significant differences. Or they didn't find them as differences in the long term. Like there was one study where after 6 months there was a significant weight loss, but then after 2 years it was no longer a significant weight loss. A lot of these studies, like I said, were on people who were on the Mediterranean diet or on diabetic diets. So many of them were compared with people who were not necessarily healthy individuals. There was a couple with healthy individuals compared to just a baseline diet, their normal diet. They did show weight loss and a slight improvement of blood pressure. However, one of them did show an increase in C-reactive protein, which is an inflammation marker, so meaning that there was a higher inflammation markers. And this study was only 6 participants, so it's not necessarily the most reliable. So based on these studies, the conclusion that I have drawn is that a lot of them do show weight loss, decrease in blood pressure, and also decrease in insulin sensitivity. But the majority of these studies were short studies. They didn't have very many participants, so they're not necessarily the most reliable source of information on this diet. So there really does need to be a lot more research before we say that this is a diet that would benefit a lot of people for any reason. A couple other things that this study pointed out is that on average, the paleo diet is 10% more expensive than the average diet. So it can be slightly inaccessible for low-income people or people on a tighter budget. Calcium deficiency is also a really big thing with the paleo diet because you can't eat any dairy. So people on this diet would likely have to be on a calcium supplement. And again, that's something that still needs to be researched more. A lot of people also in these studies said that it was very difficult to adhere to, and a lot of studies had not the best compliance rate. So first of all, any diet that requires you to cut out entire food groups is not gonna be one that is necessarily the best for you. And I think most dietitians would agree on that. So this diet cuts out grains altogether, and it cuts out dairy, which those are 2 food groups that are really good for you. I mean, no, you should not be eating loaves of white bread and cookies and cupcakes, but whole grains are great for you. Brown rice, quinoa, whole wheat bread. They're really high in fiber and they're really beneficial to your diet. Same goes for dairy. Dairy is a major source of calcium and vitamin D, which are both things that we need. Legumes are also not allowed in the paleo diet, which is another thing I have a problem with because legumes are incredibly healthy. They have tons of fiber, they're really heart healthy, and they're a great non-animal source of protein. So anyone who is a vegetarian or trying to eat less meat, there's no way that they could do this diet because legumes are totally cut out. There's really not any other way to get protein on this diet besides meat. Another thing that is slightly controversial is the high amounts of meat included in this diet. There's not really anything about eating leaner meats. It's just eat a lot of meat. So, I mean, they do emphasize good sources of meat like grass-fed meat and high quality meat, but it's a lot of meat. And the reason I say it's controversial is now we don't really know if dietary cholesterol is as bad for you as we thought it was, but you are consuming a lot more saturated fat, and eating that much meat to the point where it's just kind of the staple in everything might not be the best for you. Like I mentioned before, a lot of people did say that it's difficult to stick to, which I can definitely understand. If you can't eat any processed food, any dairy, any legumes, you pretty much can never go out to eat. You would have to prepare all of your food yourself. It might be difficult to find like snacks to take to work with you. It's just very restrictive. And then finally, it is going to be more expensive because they are emphasizing these high quality meats. You're basically not buying any convenience foods, which tend to be the cheaper options. So it is going to be more expensive and likely less accessible for anyone who is on a budget. So now let's talk about the good things about this diet, because it's not all bad. So one great thing I think about this diet is that it emphasizes eating more fruits and vegetables, which is never a bad thing. Probably all of us could benefit from eating more fruits and vegetables, no matter how many you have in your diet right now. So any diet that emphasizes that is definitely a good thing. It also puts an emphasis on whole foods, less processed foods, which is great. So in turn, you're probably going to end up eating less sugar, less refined carbohydrates, and less sodium. So that emphasis on whole foods is a good thing. Also, the emphasis on the whole foods will teach you to cook more, which I think a lot of us could benefit from. I think it is too restrictive, and it's not great that you can never go out to eat on this diet, but it will teach you to cook more and hopefully maybe find some things you enjoy cooking and some healthier meals that might be easier than you thought to cook. And then finally, I do think that the low sodium aspect of the diet is good. We all probably eat too much sodium, but the fact that there is just no added salt is not necessarily what we need to be aiming for. Because if you're not eating any processed foods, you're not really going to have any added salt, but adding a little bit of salt to your meal is not the worst thing, and it adds flavor as well. So yes to low sodium, no to no salt at all. My conclusion is I don't think it's the worst diet. I like the emphasis on whole foods and fruits and vegetables. I do think that, like many fad diets, it is too restrictive. So I think that maybe a good place to go from here is using the basics of the paleo diet, like the high fruits and vegetables, low sodium, low processed foods, using that base and then modifying it to your lifestyle so that you are able to create balance. You can go out to eat when you want, but you have a main focus on whole foods and fruits and vegetables. Well, that's all I have for today. I hope that you enjoyed this video, and I hope it was helpful and that you learned something about the paleo diet. If there's any specific diets that you'd like me to do a video about, please let me know in the comments below. I hope that you guys find these videos helpful. Like I said, I don't want to bash any diet or judge anyone for doing them. I just want to provide you guys with the facts and with the science and the purpose behind the diet. All right, well, I will see you in the next video. Bye.